Welcome back to part 3 of the Jewelers Carpet Recovery and Refining video series. And I'm just sitting here trying to think what to do next. And the words of one of my old mentors from the gold refining forum keep rattling around in my head. He said, it was Harold V. And he said, when you're working with this kind of material, the 3 most important things to remember are incineration, incineration, and incineration. So I think what I'm going to do is take one of these filter cakes, put it in this melt dish here. We're going to roast this in an oven before we go to the aqua regia. What I think I'll do is replace the nitric acid that's up here in our button. Before we go any further, I'm just going to pour this off into my silver jar. And we'll save that liquid because it'll probably have some silver in it. Here's what the gold is looking like down in there. Don't look too bad. I'm going to put in a little bit more distilled water. And then we're going to add some more nitric acid to it. And we're going to set this back up on the heat and just let this boil away until we're certain that all the silver and the base metals have been removed from it. I've got my oven preheated outdoors. I want to do this outdoors because it makes some fumes. So I'm going to take this out now and stick it in our oven. Got this set at about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what, around 540 Celsius. So I'm going to leave the door cracked a little bit and incinerate all the combustible material in there. It's been in there about 10 minutes now. So what we'll do is we're going to open up the door here, sneak a peek at what we got going on. Oh, look at that. That's looking real good. That's fine ash now. And the main concern here, I still see a little bit of smoke, but the main concern here is getting anything that's going to bind the gold up as we try to dissolve it burnt off and out of there before we go to the aqua regia. And that's the reason we're incinerating this material. I think this is going to be the way to go with the rest of the filter cakes. I was kind of worried about how to proceed here with this stuff in these filters, and I was laying there awake last night thinking about it, and it was like Obi-Wan came to me in my thoughts and said incinerate. So I've got another dish here, and what we'll do is take this out, pull the other one out, let it cool off, and put this one in. Take this one out. It's looking pretty good there. Set it up out of the way, and I'm going to put the next one in and let that one burn now. This dish had about 3 times as much material as the first one we did. There's a lot more smoke coming out of here. But, like pain is weakness leaving the body, smoke is contamination leaving our material. I'm going to break all this incinerated material up. Look at that, man. Nice fine powder. This will be easy to work with in our beaker. It's much better than the moist filter cakes that we had. Alright, I think the best way to proceed here is to pour it through the screen again into our beaker. Screen it through there. All right, here's some small bits of metal, and not quite sure how to proceed here. We might process this separately from the powder that we've got down here in the beaker. I think what we'll do here is keep the powdered stuff down here separated and put this solid material into a separate beaker. And now what we'll do is go ahead and add the next filter cake out of this beaker. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It's going to break apart on me. Come on out of there for me. It's loose. If I can just get underneath of it. There we go. Alright, let's take this one out to the furnace now and burn it. I'm going to take this one in and grind it up. It's about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, 540 Celsius. So we're going to let it sit there and cool off before we try to process it through our screen. Okay, I think our material is cooled off some now. So let's go ahead and start grinding this up a little bit, pulverizing it. Let's see if we can pull our beaker over now. Here's the little bit of material that's left. Set our beaker off to the side. And put these solids in this separate beaker right here. This is our last filter. Let's see if I can get it out of here. Oh yeah, it's gonna come out for me. Thank you, thank you. Come on off of there. That's split. We got it in there. Got a bunch on the glove too, so we'll just put the glove right into the melt dish. Let's take this out to the furnace and burn this up now. Oh yeah, look at that, man. Whew. Set this up out of the way and put this one in now and let that burn. Now that one took off immediately because that furnace is hot. You can see some flames in there. So let's let this one burn. And now we'll take this in and let this cool off so we can process it. Here's a look at our material. It's in a nice finely divided state. This could be much easier than trying to process those moist filters. Let me move this out of the way. And now what we're going to do is let's get rid of this solution in here. See, it's green colored. It's just hot nitric that we're using to dissolve out the silver and the base metals out of that gold. It's looking superb. Now what we'll do is set it down here. I'm going to add a little bit more distilled water to it. And then we're going to put some more nitric in. Put it back up on the heat. And just let this continue to boil up here on the heating pad. It'll be nice and cleaned up when we get ready to dissolve it in aqua regia. Here you can see our encorded button that we put in nitric acid is boiling in that dilute nitric, and the solution is crystal clear and colorless. That's what we want to see. Now let's go ahead and get this material through our strainer. This is a little bit more solid than the rest of the pieces were earlier, but it's nice and dry, crumbly. It's going to work just fine, I think. I'm going to take this empty jar or empty melt dish back out to the furnace. Alright, I see quite a bit of smoke coming out of here still. It's been in there about a half an hour. This was the wettest one out of all of them. So I think what we're going to do is put this back in the furnace. Just let it continue to cook in there until all the smoke goes away. Alright, we've got the temperature here up to about 1500. But I still see quite a bit of smoke coming off of here. I think we're just going to have to make a decision here. Oh yeah, it's red hot in there. I'm going to take this out now. See that red heat? We're going to put our other dish in. And we're going to cook this one off, and it cleans it up real nice when you get that thing real hot. And now we'll take this in and let it cool down, and we'll process it. Yeah, this one got real hot. It's still glowing red down inside of there. So we're going to have to let this cool off until we can proceed. I can still see a little bit of red down in there. This thing's really throwing some heat. But for right now, what I'm going to do is reach back in here, turn the heat way down to minimum. What we'll do now is I'm going to pour off that acid that's in there. This is ready to go, man. This is ready to process with some aqua regia. So I'm going to get rid of the acid now and just pour it in this jar. And I'm going to rinse it real good with some distilled water. And now I'm just going to fill it up with a little bit of water. Just a little bit. We're going to set it back on the heat. And just let it set in some hot water until we're ready to proceed with that material. It looks really good, man. I mean, it came out real good, just like I was expecting. Here you can see the furnace temperature is way up there, and you see it's red hot in there. And what that'll do is that'll clean that melt dish off real nice for me, so it'll be ready for use next time we go to use it. I'm just going to turn the furnace off now, let it cool down natural. This is cooled off enough to where we can work on it now. Alright, there's quite a bit of metal in here. think we got just about all we're going to get off of those pieces. I do see some carat metal, carat gold in there. I can't believe it. Last night I was very worried about how we're going to proceed. I'm just going to add this little bit of material to this, back into this beaker. Here's all our powdered material. It's looking real good. Sure, I'm glad we incinerated that. And then of course we've got the carat gold back here that we melted into a butt and drew all the silver and base metals out with nitric acid. It's ready to be refined. So we're all set, man. We're ready to go to the gold extraction process now. I need to make some room in here, so we'll move this stuff out of here. Here's my stir paddle, and what it is a PVC pipe, the kind that goes in your bathroom sink underneath the cabinet. I've got 3 toy airplane propellers here. I screwed it in with a nylon screw, and I put some epoxy stuff up in here so that screw would stay in place. And so that's our homemade stir paddle. All right, let's see if we can get our stir paddle up into the drill here. All right, let's see if we can get this thing to spin down in there. That looks good. I'm going to lower it down just a little bit. There we go. That's looking good. Now I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid. And we're going to start extracting the gold here. Pour this in. It's going to make a slurry down there. Alright, I didn't have the chuck tight enough. I've got that tightened up now. We'll drop the stir bar down into our slurry. Continue to add some hydrochloric acid. We get down here with a stir bar or a stirring rod and get all this. Oh yeah, it's nice and loose down there. It's not real tight like we had when we did the ash from the first incineration. Part 1. Now what we'll do is I'm going to pour out about 100 milliliters of nitric acid. Alright, here we go. We're going to start adding in small amounts of nitric acid here. I'm going to start dissolving out this gold. Start out real slow here because I don't know how this is going to react. I haven't added any heat yet. And that was about 25 milliliters of nitric acid that we added. I'm going to turn some heat on now. Put it about medium heat. Start heating our solution up. Here's our gold button that we parted with nitric. Should just be pure gold in there right now. I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid to the unquarted gold. Now we're going to add some sulfuric acid. to this beaker. I'm going to add a little bit of heat. Now we're going to start out with just 3 milliliters of nitric acid here. Alright, we're starting to get a reaction in this beaker. I'm glad I just put a little bit of nitric in there and not a whole bunch, because that's a delayed reaction that just happened. Kind of frightening. We can use water to knock it down. That was about a 1 hour time lapse. Let's get our stirring rod out of here. My battery died. It lasted for an hour, so that's not too bad. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I guess the toy airplane propellers were not compatible with the Aqua Regia. It dissolved the plastic airplane propellers on my stirring device. I've got some solids left in this beaker. I've been hitting it with Aqua Regia, but I'm not quite sure what that is. Might be some platinum group metals. I'm not sure. Okay, as for this monstrosity, dissolved my airplane propeller stirring device. I think all we can do here is just crank the heat up, add a little bit more hydrochloric acid. Alright, let's get some hydrochloric acid in here, some fresh hydrochloric acid going into the solids here. Give this a stir. I can feel solids on the bottom, but I do know from experience working with this in the past that there's going to be a lot of that abrasive material that the jeweler uses with his sanding discs. So we've added about, what, 75 milliliters of the nitric. I'm going to pour the rest of it in here carefully. Alright, that was 25 milliliters. Let's give this a quick stir. You'll see a whole lot of fumes happening. Now we're just going to cover this up and let this one go. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do about this one. I'm going to try to put some more nitric in there. And I'm fairly certain that this is not going to be any gold. Alright, all this material finally went into solution. I'm going to set this back out of the way back here. I'm going to transfer the little bits of metal from here into this smaller beaker. Now what we'll do is add some hydrochloric acid. and set it up on the heat. I'm going to cover this up. And now what we'll do is add a shot of nitric acid and start dissolving the little bits of gold and material that are in this beaker. This has been on boiling now for a couple of hours. We'll reach down in here and give this a stir. I think this extraction is pretty much done here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat off, and we're going to let this settle out and cool off. We'll reach in here and get us a Stannis Test. See what we got going on in here. Boom. That's a good sign. Rich in gold. If I'm not mistaken, I see a little bit of orange formation at the top of that black, so that means we got platinum in there as well. Alright, let's reach back in here. Get a little of this on the paper. Test this for the presence of gold. Oh yeah, look at that, man. That's a dark black stain, so that's going to be rich in gold back there as well. Same thing, I see a little bit of orange forming at the top of the black on the piece of paper right here. Alright, let's get a sample of this on a piece of filter paper. And we got a little gold in there too. Not as much as the other two, which I didn't expect, but a respectable amount. So, wow, we're doing good here. We've got the extraction started, and Mr. Sweet Tips has got some food cooked for me. So I'm going to go in and get a little dinner. We're going to let this stuff settle and cool overnight. I think this is a good place to stop, and we'll continue with the extraction process tomorrow morning. Come out and carry on from right where we're at. And this will conclude part 3 of the Jeweler's Carpet Recovery and Refining series of videos. Thank you for watching.